All right, welcome back. Now we're going to talk about monitoring the backup jobs. You created your strategy, got a plan, put that plan to work, brought it alive, got your solution, your backup solution, your software, you got all the devices and equipment you need to perform your backups, um, and you're performing the backups. Your backups are going. Let's say you have daily backups. Well, every day backups are happening. All right. Now remember what I said at the beginning. The goal is not the backups. The goal is the restore. Right? Your goal is to be able to restore your data, not merely create backups. All right. Therefore, you must monitor your backups. You should consistently monitor the backup jobs to see if they're running and that they're running successfully. And you want to make sure, go back and just look and make sure all the files that you think are being backed up are actually being backed up. It's a world of hurt to be backing up and looking at the backup just as, yep, it's successful. Yep, it's successful. 4 months later, you say, yep, my backups have been really successful. And then something happens, you have to restore a particular folder and you realize, or even if it's just a file in that folder, and then you go and you try to restore it, you realize that folder wasn't part of my backup. So you want to monitor your backups and just take note, make sure that everything that you think is being backed up and everything that should be backed up is actually being backed up. And you want to look at your documentation to make sure that you have what should be backed up in that documentation. That way you can easily do like a checklist or something like that. All right. You can review your backup logs. Your software is most likely going to have some type of log that lets you know what happened. Acronis has a log, which I'll show you in a moment. I told you I use iDrive. iDrive has a log. It tells you, what it did, how long it did, how many files it backed up, if it failed, and so forth and so on. Some systems you can configure it to send you an email notification if a backup succeeds or if it fails or however you want to set that up. So, but the bottom line is to monitor your backups, that they're running successfully, and they're running and backing up what you think they should be backed up. Here's an example of a backup log. This is from Acronis backup activity log. This is from my software, and you can see it says successfully backed up today. Well, this wasn't today. I don't know what day this was, but backed up 244 kilobytes, speed 1 kilobyte per second, time spent 29 minutes, blah, blah, blah. And this was data to recover 598 gigs. And you notice, wait a minute, 598 gigs, but he said he backed up 244 kilobytes because it's an incremental backup. This is how much stuff changed, all right? And here's another incremental backup, 5.2 megabyte. I've been doing a little bit more work that day. And it's going 21 kilobits per second, 32 minutes it took, 598.7. You see the same. Basically, I obviously didn't add any files, and it's still an incremental. So this is your log. And you can look, the first thing I look for is, oh, I got a green. That means the backup was successful. But this is good, but it's not enough. You still want to go back and check your backup, your configuration, to see that it's backing up all the stuff that you think it's backing up and that you want it to back up. Now, you have to evaluate your backup solution. Now, this can be tricky because I can tell you, you look at documentations of backup solutions, you're going around. Remember when you had your strategy and you had a plan and you looked to see what backup solution best meets my budget and my needs and so forth, and you pick one. But then, 6 months down the line, you're like, oh, I wish you could have done this. Oh, I really don't like the way you get down in the grass, and there's just some things you don't like about it. Or just that your requirements change after a while. And this backup solution doesn't really do it for you anymore. Or you need something else that this backup solution does not have. So that's why you should evaluate your backup solution every now and then. I mean, I'm not talking every month, all right, because you're talking about backup, so you have historical data there, all right? So once a year, once every 2 years, but industry changes, software get better, and, there might be a better offering and so forth and so on that you want to check out, right? So evaluate your backup software every now and then. Just make sure, is this thing still doing it for us? Is it still adequate? Is it still meeting our needs? Is it still within budget? Do we need anything more that this thing can't provide? Do we not need all the bells and whistles that we thought we needed before? And of course, when you do that, you have to be careful because you just can't go and say, okay, let's just start using another software. No, because you've got backups. So if you close out your account with that provider, then you lose all those backups. So you want to manage that transition. If you do decide to use another solution, you want to manage the transition. You won't be able to just cut it off. You may stop it from doing the backups and just keep what it has already backed up until you built up another set of backups with a with a different solution. Yeah, but I just wanted to make that point. Okay, so you're doing your backups. You're checking out your logs, you're looking at your logs, you're making sure. Now, remember what I said before. The goal is the restore, not the backup. That's the goal. So if the goal is to restore, if that's why you think about it, that's why you're creating the backup, so that you can restore in case you lose data. But how do you know if you can restore? How do you know that when your hard drive burns up, it spontaneously combusted? All right. How do you know that you can take your backup and say, no problem, and just restore it to another hard drive? How do you know you can do it? Unless you've tested it. So we're going to start talking about that next. So stay tuned.